like Motown and the Purple Rose Theater. Home to legendary musicians, writers, and artists, Michigan boasts a rich tapestry of cultural heritage known worldwide. Michigan Creates is a podcast series that will connect listeners with gifted artists and cultural institutions that are nurturing Michigan's vibrant creative landscape. This is Ara Tapuzian, host of Michigan Creates. On today's episode of Michigan Creates, I have the pleasure of speaking with Elaine Sims and Laura Mettam, who are part of the team behind the Gifts of Art program at University of Michigan Medicine. This remarkable program is dedicated to transforming the hospital experience by promoting health and wellness for patients, visitors, faculty, staff, and learners, all through art. Join me now as I chat with Elaine and Laura about this wonderful program. Elaine, Laura, thank you for being on Michigan Creates today. I'm really interested to learn more about a very special program that you're offering through University of Michigan. So, Gifts of Art. And I found out about what you all do by accident. But Elaine, tell me a little bit about what is Gifts of Art.
Well, Gifts of Art has a history that goes back to about 1986. It's what's called an arts and health program or an arts and healthcare program. And when it was created, it was designed for what was then called the replacement hospital. It's our current hospital, opened in 1986, replacing a 1925 hospital. And if you recall, back in that time frame, hospitals were getting increasingly sterile and disease focused, and the patient was getting left behind. It was a very frightening and disorienting place to be. And a few hospital administrators, in their wisdom, thought, if we invite the arts in, we're going to make this a more comfortable place for our patients, for our staff. People will calm down. And there were a handful of model programs that had started in the late 70s or so around the country. One of them got an NEA grant, and the person at University of Iowa was a U of M grad. So she knew our program, she knew some of the faculty. And really, it was that kind of sharing of this is what we've done, and faculty and leadership saying this is what we want to pilot and try here. And so on a 3-year pilot, how many years? 35 years later, here we are. And we began very, very modestly trying to improve what was called the environment of care, the environment that you and I as patients or as staff, and then learners and faculty, doctors would find themselves in. I used to say to people, the Michigan Medicine, we weren't called that at the time, is kind of like a Star Trek. It's kind of like a space pod. Because once you parked, once you got here, you really couldn't leave. Once you found a parking place, you weren't going anyplace else. This was, like a closed system in the middle of nowhere. And so we had to provide everything for our family, our community that was here. And the arts became a big part of it.
And, you looked on the website, and certainly you've got a Facebook page, and I've read a little bit more about Gifts of Art and the types of programs that you're offering. But I think what's at the core of a lot of this is the importance of arts for just health, for medical health. And so you're showing some programs. So let's talk about maybe some of the different programs. Maybe Laura, you can touch on the different types of programs you're participating with. But before we do that, what do you both feel as far as the impact that arts has on our mental well-being, our physical well-being? How is that helping patients, Elaine? What would you say to that?
Again, in the 30-some years, there's been a lot of research, a lot of other things that have come up with what we saw from the beginning, and those of us instinctively know that. And there's an anthropologist called Ellen Dissanayake, who I met years ago, and her theory was that the arts are a basic human survival skill. That the sound or rhythm of the mother's heartbeat, the sound of the mother's voice, the look and feel of your village, of the colors of, the surroundings that you live in, they all symbolize for you safety and security. Right. And, the arts are based off of that. And so in times of utter stress and when you're ill and in a journey, no matter how beautiful the hospital looks, it's a scary, scary place. And your world shrinks to just you and what you're facing. And and so the arts, it's like, your body, you know, that this is something you need. This is a lifeline. This helps you retain your identity, that sense of being who I am, in that moment, so that which helps you get through everything. It
Right.
calms you, the music, if it's something that has a memory of a time that you were safe and protected or young and safe. Laura may tell you we have coloring books, and the whole reason we started doing coloring books like in 2004 was that coloring reminds you of childhood. And most of us, thank God, were safe and happy
Yeah.
and protected in our childhood. So I hope that's a long-winded answer, but
No, but I think it's,
we do hear patients literally
yeah,
say this: my healing began the day you walked into my room. And they say
yeah,
that to the musicians that come and play live music at the bedside, the artist. We have, I don't know, Laura, what, hundreds, thousands of stories.
Yeah,
yeah,
we hear that again and again through the testimonials from our patients and families, the meaning that these experiences bring to the families and people who are in, some oftentimes stressful situations, times of struggle. So Elaine touched on a couple of our programs. We have visual art exhibitions at the hospital. We have 9 different galleries and rotating shows that change out quarterly. We have musical performances, and like Ara mentioned, this is kind of how we found each other
yeah,
through some of our performances. So we do live performances in the hospital, but we also do just some streaming. And so we found a performance of yours from Carytown Concert House, which we've partnered with for many years. We have bedside programs, so we have musicians and artists who can bring kits directly to the patient's rooms. Story studio, art cart, which can change out the posters in patients' rooms. Friends meditation garden, all these different wonderful services.
The orchestra.
The orchestra, the life sciences orchestra, yes.
wow.
That gives staff
So,
an opportunity to, be in a creative space.
Yeah.
And we actually did a survey early on with one of our orchestra members who was a psychiatrist on the stress level at the beginning of the semester or the year, and then after a year of playing music in the orchestra, and found that it was impactful. We had a significant difference in stress and feeling of connected.
As a musician, I mean, you both have kind of touched on a few things that sort of come to mind in my past. I mean, yes, Laura, you're right. This is how we got connected, was through the folks at Carytown and one of the past concerts that I did. But I've also performed some music at bedside for friends that not in a good situation. And I noticed how that just sort of made all the difference in the world to them. And then the coloring books, that sort of hits home to my family. My father, who had health problems, the coloring book was calming. And it
Mhm.
it really gave him something to do, but I think it also did remind him of his youth, and it also got him some focus and took some of the anxiety away. So I mean, I think it's excellent and really important, the services that you're offering. If musicians or artists want to get involved, can they reach out to you folks and say, hey, we want to volunteer to either do some of the either bedside performances or other?
Well, there's certainly for the lobby performances. We also have a volunteer performing corps in waiting areas of the hospital or in the
Hmm.
main lobby, where we actually have 3 baby grand pianos throughout the hospital. So, but we also have, stressful waiting areas that musicians can play in. Usually it's what, an hour commitment a week or something for volunteer. Bedside, we kind of leave it to the professionals who have special training.
Yeah,
It is, we still are a medical place, and I believe in first do no harm. And with good intentions, it still can be, things happen,
right.
things just happen. But we have had performers who have said, we want to do this. We want to start doing bedside music. And there is a national certificate training program, and they went through that, did an internship with us, and became part of our staff. So we do have former performing artists who are now staff with us. So
That's
it's possible.
terrific.
And then during COVID, we got into streaming. Then we got into a lot of different things because of COVID, but one of them was streaming. And we did have musicians from Juilliard who reached out and said, we want to do via FaceTime, one-on-one with COVID patients who couldn't get into a room or see anyone. So we still do streaming because we can't get into all the precaution rooms where, they can't really be in there because of infection control.
Well, I appreciate learning more about what's going on with Gifts of Art and University of Michigan. I mean, it's just we all know that it's a wonderful health system, hospital, and this is just sort of another component to it. And so I appreciate the work that you both are doing. It's got to be certainly a bit satisfying to know that you're bringing some additional comfort in utilizing the arts to do that. So it's great to learn more about what you folks are doing. If folks want to learn more about Gifts of Art, they can go online. Where could they find some more information?
I'm going to let Laura say that, but before she does, I want to add that I really neglected saying anything about visual artists, and we do have from time to time, we have artist demonstration. Artists will set up, and it's kind of a drop-in. Staff or visitors or patients can come and talk to them about what they're doing, and maybe they can do a simple project. And also, we're always looking for artists for our galleries. I mean, 9 galleries, filling them on a regular basis. And one of the things we like to do with the galleries is diversity. We really want people to feel like they belong when they enter the hospital. And we have the capacity to translate something like 80 some languages. So that's a lot of belonging. So that's a lot of variety of, artistic skills from all different cultures and ethnicities and trainings and whatever. And it's like Christmas when we do an annual call for exhibits. So I hope artists will look for that. And Laura can tell everyone how to find that on our website.
Yes, and I believe the call will be opening soon in March for this next cycle. But michiganmedicine.org, we are under the community and arts and health page. And from there, we have a lineup of all of our art exhibits that are on display, as well as upcoming concerts. We do have volunteer info. The next Life Sciences Orchestra concert, which is free and open to the public, at Hill Auditorium is in May 16th. So we've got lots of information online.
Excellent.
And also we have links to other organizations that might be of interest. So if anyone's interested in the field, there is a national professional organization called the National Organization for Arts and Health. They also have links. There's a lot of research going on, and there's opera stars like Renee Fleming getting involved through the Kennedy Center and doing research on the effects of music, the neurological effects, why we respond to music. So there's a lot of interesting things that people can find. And one of the things that I'll mention, we haven't gotten into it here, but they do it in England, they do it in a few other countries, and they're starting to pilot it around the United States in key areas, is what's called social prescribing or arts prescribing. So physicians can actually write a script prescribing a visit to an art museum, taking a harmonica class, I don't know, a nature-based course, something like that, because, what the findings are, again, which we already knew, is that the arts are really critical to a healthy lifestyle and to good mental health and to all these things that keep us out of the hospital and keep us healthy. So that may be the next wave.
Yeah, we're probably there for it. We're probably there for it. Well, Elaine, Laura, that's about all that we've got time for today. But I want to thank you both for, again, the work that you're doing and educating me a little bit about some of the programming and the work that you're doing at U of M. And thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Ara.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Michigan Creates. We hope you've had fun diving into the creativity of our state. From Motown melodies to artisanal wonders, Michigan never fails to dazzle. But hey, the creativity doesn't stop here. Connect with us online, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes. Help us spread the word and also share your own artistic stories. So until next time, I'm Ara Tapuzian, and I want you to keep those musical instruments in tune, keep those paintbrushes moving, and keep those cameras rolling. Remember, in Michigan, the only limit is your imagination. Stay creative.